There you go. Swing right through the ball. Nice. Come through the zone. Awesome. Oh, sorry. I didn't even see you there. I was just trying to show the people on the team how to hit the ball right evenly, kind of on a level field. And I'll get back to that. Hold your thought. I have an email. Probably need to respond to this. A few of my students are asking for extensions, and I know it's 11:30 at night, and I should really be getting to bed. And I haven't eaten in a number of hours, and I was gonna call my friend Owen today. If that opening is not emblematic of the fact that my work life balance is sometimes really askew, then I don't know what is. I love to work and love to give effort and be busy the entire day. But my best friends in college held me accountable to the fact that I need to care for myself. And that's really at the heart of what Awe and Wix are saying. That late nights in the library, time with residents, running from commitment to commitment is awesome, but it can easily burn you out. In my first year of teaching, I've kind of been blown away by just how much work is always there if I look for it. The minute I get done with lesson plans for next week, I'm like, oh, well, I can start strategically planning, developing this project, emailing parents, organizing these documents, responding to emails, whatever it is. And I'm never ahead. And then graduate school coursework on top of it. And my mind moves in this scattered way where I start something, pause something, start something else, go over this. And then I'm hyper aware of deadlines. Okay, I need to get this observation done by this date, and I need to turn in this stuff then, and my students need this, and I promised I would get that. I can be overwhelmed by it. And if I'm being honest, I'm also sometimes concerned about others' perceptions of me and a feeling of incompleteness if I don't reach a certain level, if I don't do things well enough, even if perfection, as is mentioned in the text, is seemingly unattainable. Now, awe, in grounding us in gratitude, provides a really important and meaningful way for me to approach work. How can I be grateful for the graces that God has given me in this what I'm doing and strike a balance between work and leisure, time for others and time for myself? And in my many years of Jesuit education, I've come to recognize, as he points out, that Manjas is not just about doing more and adding more to your plate, but it should open you up to a greater freedom to where God is calling you. That if we do things in an effective way, we'll see and feel God's active presence. One thing I particularly love about his text is he mentions, and in his heading says, becoming contemplatives even in action. This highlights the semi kind of conflicting nature of it, that despite the action, despite the craziness of life, we can still be a contemplative. And I tell myself I do this. I tell myself I step back and find the good and find the graces and point out the gratitudes. But I'm not always as great as I should be. And he takes issue with the prayer for generosity as being hyper focused on doing, of toiling and not counting the cost, of fighting and not heeding the wounds. I think he misses an opportunity, though, even as he tries to emphasize the pitfalls of codependency, to say, how can we approach the prayer for generosity with gratitude? How does that reshape its meaning to appreciate that which God has given, appreciate the fact that we need time for ourselves, while still doing God's work, and that, doing all these things are important so long as they achieve God's will. I would have liked to see him push it there a little further. Now, Wicks, I love, and this text was absolutely phenomenal. He mentions this story of the girl singing as this unexpected experience of wonder and awe. Because we're so focused on our accomplishments and our baggage and the things we do, we lose sight of the ability to do that. However, and I love this analogy, when we prune, we're not just taking away, but we're allowing new life to spring forth, those buds, where we see our own goodness. We can find, and I can pinpoint, hey, I do that really well because I've stripped away, because I've cut off the excesses, those dead things which are weighing me down. And this concept of renewal zones is something I truly am going to sit with and grapple with. I think this may stick with me well beyond this course. That we need these places of inner refreshment where we can be childlike act, as I like to call it, with a reckless abandon, to just be ourselves in a raw way. And that space looks different for each person, but we have to find it. For as he mentions, if we don't take care of ourselves and responsibility for ourselves, then who will? Right? Other people can call us to do that, but we have to do it for ourselves. In my day to day life, I love to embrace the silence as a way to decompress, to be, to find that space, to drive home in the car immediately after work in silence, to spend my morning breakfast and shower time just by myself in kind of the darkness and the peace. When I go to lift at the gym after work, in this space, no one knows me. No one has expectations of how much I should lift, what I should do. And yet I also feel seen and recognized because the same people are there on a regular basis. I like to try to have a hard stop on work at night when I have to wake up at my early time in the morning. Like tomorrow morning, I don't because of my schedule. And so I can stay up a little bit later and work. And one thing that brings me so much joy that Wix points out are calling those friends and acquaintances who just light you up, who inject you with so much life. For me, my friend Abruzzo, as I call him, is a clown who I'll spend 2 or 3 hours on the phone with, but that time is so worth it because I always leave. Oh my gosh, I'm tearing up. Leave filled with life. In terms of improvement, I love spontaneous adventures, but I don't allow myself the space to do it because I know I have so much work to do. A willingness to say no, uh, praying and grounding myself in gratitude on a more regular basis, and finally, sports and competitive events, which allow me just to be and go crazy on the field, kind of like baseball. So if I do that, if I do all those things successfully, I'll hit a home run in my work life balance rather than striking out.